I'd like to begin asking your thoughts about what we heard from General Petraeus, who's the U.S. commander of the forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, saying that he thought that the mission in Afghanistan was doable. However, it required, in his words, sustained, substantial commitment. How substantial is that commitment that's necessary to actually win that war?
Well, I think the commitment comes in two forms. Resources, as Michael Ware was just talking about, more U.S. troops, NATO troops, Afghan security forces, and a well thought out idea for perhaps using local militias. But there also has to be the commitment of the nations themselves. This needs a combination of resources for the commanders on the ground and the public support of the nations that are helping the Afghans win this war.
But the public support is waning. It's waning in the United States. It's waning in Europe among NATO's allies. It doesn't seem that that is something very feasible to count on in such a serious situation.
Well, that's going to be the most difficult part of this entire new strategy. Just as public support had turned against the Iraq war when President Bush stood up, announced the new way forward, that was President Bush's manner to get the American people behind the effort. President Obama and the leaders in Europe will have to have the same level of commitment, will have to go in front of their people, make the case why it's important so that they not only resource the commanders with what they need, but get the publics behind them, because this will be and will require a sustained amount of public support. This will take years.
General McChrystal, who is the U.S. and NATO commander there in Afghanistan, says he needs more troops. However, we are hearing that he has been asked to wait before he requests this. Do you know anything about that? Why is he being asked to wait?
Well, I don't know anything directly on that issue. It may simply be that within Washington they've received his strategy, they're analyzing his strategy, and figuring out how to balance the other requirements before the announcements are made. Just because the commander on the ground has made his recommendations, it doesn't mean that there should be a rush to come up with a strategy in the next day or so that doesn't properly account for those recommendations and other requirements that are necessary. I have very little doubt that Afghanistan remains a national priority in the United States, and that our government leaders are reviewing his strategy carefully before they make their final decisions.
A very triumphant message today from Mullah Omar was released, that basically telling the West to look at history, to look at anybody who's tried to defeat the Afghan people has been defeated, and that they will be defeated. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that that is another Adam Gadon propaganda effort by the Taliban. Clearly what Mullah Omar is trying to do is attack that very public support that we talked about earlier. He is trying to sow doubt and discord in this debate. He recognizes that there may be an opportunity in the European capitals and in the American heartland to think carefully about continuing this war. If he can in fact convince the American people and the Europeans to stop fighting, he has achieved victory. But nobody seriously takes the capability of the Taliban to defeat the European forces, to defeat the American forces. They just simply can't. So if you can't defeat the forces, what you try to do is pull away their base of support among their publics. Sow doubt among the people rather than defeat the forces on the field. It's a classic counterinsurgency strategy. It's been used for years and years.
Brigadier General Mark Kimmett, thank you very much.